Tom Kozlowski and Brady Farkas here on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And joining us to talk some college football is ESPN's Chris Lowe. And Chris, the college football playoff has officially been announced. What was the biggest surprise for you when you saw the top four teams come across the board?
You know, I wasn't surprised really at anything. I thought Clemson would be number one. They've been number one for the last few weeks. You could make a case that Michigan State's resume is better than anybody in the four. Now, are they the best team? I don't know. We're going to find that out. But who else has beaten two top five teams away from home in the last 3 weeks? Well, Sparty's done that. And you throw in Michigan, that's three top 10 teams they've beaten away from home this year. Nobody else in the field can match that. Okay, they also beat Oregon at home early in the season, another top 15 team. You got to love what Mark D'Antonio has done. All the guy does is win big games. I think he's 7-1 in his last 8 games against top 10 foes. So maybe, if anything, with them, capping the season with that Big Ten championship win over a top 5 Iowa, maybe that they didn't move up to 2 or even 1.
You look at the SEC overall, but if you look at a team like Alabama and Oklahoma, those two teams, as long as Michigan State as well, and also Clemson at the top spot, which of those semifinal games, Clemson and their matchup and also Oklahoma, which one of those games do you think will be the closest come New Year's Eve?
Well, I like the Oklahoma-Clemson game the best because the two quarterbacks in that game are outstanding, and they mirror each other. Baker Mayfield and Deshaun Watson both are guys that they never give up on a play. They extend the play. They both have escapability, clear, quintessential leaders of their football team. And that if you like quarterback play, man, that's the game. And here's the other thing about that is if one of those teams gets ahead, let's say Clemson or Oklahoma gets ahead 10, 14 points or more, the other one's not going to be out of the game because they have that quarterback who can bring them back. And they're able to do that. They've done it before. I think that's the game that has a chance to be just a real classic and a game that could go back and forth because the quarterbacks are so outstanding.
Going back to the Big Ten title game, I was saying this at the time of the game. Michigan State's got the ball at the 5-yard line. There's 1:54 left. It's first down. Iowa has no timeouts. Should the Hawkeyes have just let Michigan State score in that situation to get the ball back with a lot of time only trailing by a field goal?
Yeah, that's the age-old debate. You hear that, and you hear. I've heard it in the NFL as well. Go ahead and do that. Take your chances on offense. That's a gamble, I think, if you believe in your defense. And you also got to figure out, you're right, you need a field goal, but you don't have any timeouts. Difference in college football, obviously the clock's going to stop when you get a first down. I think you're on the sideline sort of thinking, all right, which do we have a better chance to do here? You still got to drive probably, 50 yards to have any shot to do that. I think you take your chances and you play defense. It still came down to a fourth down play, so they were pretty darn close in holding Sparty out of the end zone.
Here in Albany, we've been following Iowa pretty closely all year because running back Jordan Canzeri is an Albany high school, or it's an Albany native. How big a loss for the Hawkeyes was he when he went down in the first quarter?
Oh, huge. I mean, that's a guy that, let's face it, he was an integral part of their offense. And even though Iowa was probably a lot more explosive offensively this year than we're used to them being, when you got a veteran, you got some things that they do. They were more versatile offensively. To take one of your key pieces out of the offense like that, that's tough. I mean, I think it changes what you want to do. It changes your identity. And probably more importantly, the other team, Michigan State, knows that. So they can load up a little bit more defensively and come after you.
Chris Lowe joins us here with Tom Kozlowski and Brady Farkas on 104.5 The Team and 104.5theteam.com. And make sure to follow him on Twitter at CLOWESPN. Chris, the New Year's Eve 6 and a lot of other bowl games are going to go on. Besides the college football playoff, we'll see Ole Miss taking on Oklahoma State in the Sugar Bowl. We'll have an exciting Rose Bowl between Iowa and Stanford. The Peach Bowl is going to feature Florida State and Houston. With all those games, is there one in particular, also Notre Dame and Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl? Which one of those non-playoff games are you most looking forward to?
Yeah, the one you mentioned last year, Notre Dame, Ohio State. You talk about just a game that sounds right. Two blue bloods in college football. And, Urban Meyer, I think most people know, was on that Notre Dame staff under Lou Holtz. I mean, Urban has said, I've even talked to him about how Notre Dame at one point was his dream job. And now here he is going up against the Notre Dame team that was really, I think another team that you look at their resume and the way they played this year, the way they overcame some of their injuries. I mean, that has a chance to be just a really good football game. Ohio State, I still think right now, if you said who's the most talented team in college football, I'd pick the Buckeyes. Now, they didn't play like that every week, maybe 2 or 3 weeks all season, and that's the reason they're not in the playoff. But, boy, that has a chance to be a really good football game against two talented, tradition-laden teams, playing out in Glendale. That's one I'm certainly looking forward to.
Ohio State not in the playoff, and Ezekiel Elliott no longer really in the Heisman talk. I'm not really sure what happened to him as far as the Heisman is concerned. Who are your Heisman frontrunners right now?
Yeah, this is a tough year for the Heisman for guys like him because there's so many players that are going to be right there in the thick of the things. I still have about, I think, 5 o'clock today. I'll be honest with you. I've gone back and forth. I don't know yet who I'm going to pick. I can tell you who I've narrowed it down to. I've narrowed it down to essentially 4 guys, Deshaun Watson, Baker Mayfield, Christian McCaffrey, and Derrick Henry. And I wouldn't be stunned to see any of the 4 win it. And I would have thought that maybe going into this past weekend that Henry was a little bit of the front runner at Alabama. But you look at the way McCaffrey played and how well he played. He was just lights out for Stanford this past weekend. And Deshaun Watson, I'm telling you this, guys, I was in Charlotte for that game, the Clemson-North Carolina game. You take Deshaun Watson and put him on North Carolina's team in that game, the Tar Heels win. Okay, he was really, really good. So I don't know. Maybe Mayfield's at a little bit of a disadvantage because he didn't play this weekend. But he was lights out down the stretch for the Sooners. I don't know who wins. Maybe Henry, but yeah, I wouldn't be surprised at all to see McCaffrey or Watson slide in there at the end and win it.
Chris, take as much time as possible as you need. I submitted my ballot last night. I was fighting back and forth between what guys are going to be on. Are you going to be in New York City this upcoming Saturday for the presentation?
No, I won't be there. Some of my colleagues will be. I've got to go somewhere else. But it's I like the fact, guys. I don't know about you. I like the fact that there's some suspense. In most of these years, we sort of have an idea right now who's going to win it. I don't know that anybody really can pick one guy right now and say he's definitively the favorite.
You can follow him on Twitter at CLowESPN. Chris Low. Chris, thank you so much for taking the time with us this morning and enjoy the upcoming matchups in college football and round out the season.
Hey, glad to do it, guys. Have a great day.
Thanks, you too.
Thanks, Chris.
See you guys.